Welcome to Revolutionary Motion, where we show you tennis from a different perspective. Today we'll explain to you guys the differences and pros and cons of hitting a forehand with a straight arm compared to a bent elbow. So first of all, there's obviously a big difference between the two. So what is the difference? The difference is that the bent elbow makes the lever of your arm much shorter, which means it will create less power because now you're hitting closer to your body. Now it seems pretty negative, but the positive thing about this technique is if you're keeping your elbow this close, you will have much more control because it's the same thing as if your racket was shorter. And as you can imagine, it's a bit easier to hit the ping pong ball well with a ping pong paddle than it is to hit a tennis ball well with a tennis racket, simply because a tennis racket is so much longer and you have to think about it as you're not hitting with your hand but with an extension of your arm. So the shorter that lever, or in this case, the distance between your elbow and your racket head is, the easier it will be to control your shots, but the harder it will be to create more power. So that obviously pushes us straight to the advantages and disadvantages of keeping your elbow straight. The straighter your elbow is, the straighter your arm is, the longer the lever, the more power you can create. However, it will be much harder to control your shots, which is why most people nowadays do not hit with a straight arm. And by most people, I'm talking about probably around 99.99% of the players. Now, why would somebody hit it with a straight arm, even though it's harder to control? Well, they want that extra power, and maybe that one person that can hit like that, in this case, Alcaraz would be one of those people. Del Potro is pretty good at it as well. So both of those people, they are extremely good at still controlling the ball, even though their arm is so straight. That's why they're doing it. Now, what should you do as a maybe recreational player, maybe aspiring pro, maybe just a beginner? Well, first of all, you should try to figure out how easy or hard it is for you to play in the first place the way that you're playing right now. If you feel like you're controlling your balls very, very well and your elbow is pretty close to the body, it might be time for you to maybe straighten out your arm a little bit more while you're hitting to gain that little bit of extra power and see if you can still control that. If it's too hard for you to control your balls in the first place and you don't have your elbow all the way close to your body, you might consider keeping your elbow a little bit closer to make that lever a little bit shorter and gain a little bit of extra control. So you see the pattern here. The better you are at controlling the ball, the more you want to straighten out your arm in order to gain that little bit of extra power. And the worse you are at controlling your shots, the closer you should keep your elbow to your body. Now, there's one last thing that's really important to remember. Both of these techniques only work if you're using body rotation in order to pull the arm forward and the racket forward. Now, in that case, the lever makes a difference. The lever, however, doesn't make so much of a difference if you're just hitting with your arm because you don't get that rotational energy and that whipping effect in your racket that accelerates the ball in the end. So it is very important that you use that upper body rotation to pull your arm, and then you want to figure out if you want to keep your arm closer or further away from the body on your forehand, depending on the control you're at and the power output you're at and where you want to be.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon.